Bills Mafia. Are you ready? From North Carolina to Buffalo, the Mafia is united. This is your home for the passion, the power, and the pride of the Buffalo Bills. Welcome to Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Let's go Bills.
All right, Bills Mafia, welcome back to another episode of Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. I'm your host, Owen. That other gentleman on the screen there is Tim, the outsider, joining us again. And it was Kansas City week last week. And it was certainly a game that I think everybody had circled on their calendar, especially Bills Mafia. One that we knew was going to come down to the last couple seconds, and literally it did. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Tim, on the game and how the Bills played. I felt like the score was closer than kind of what it felt. And I'm interested to hear what you had to say on that.
No, you guys absolutely dominated them. You guys played great defense for once.
Yeah.
You put
probably the defense that the Bills needed the last couple years against Kansas City, right?
Absolutely. But to be fair, this is the regular season. You guys do well against Kansas City against the regular season. You guys played good defense. You guys put a lot of pressure on Mahomes, and that's what you guys need to do. That's, between like Bosa and AJ Espinoza, you guys played well.
Yeah, I thought so too, and like I think you agree with me here also that the score was close. It came down, but it felt like the Bills were in control from the snap.
Oh, absolutely.
And the defense played well. And interested that Kansas City didn't run the ball as much as I thought they would against the Bills. I know Pacheco was out and those type of things, but still, I thought maybe KC would have used their legs a little bit more.
Kansas City doesn't have a running game like that. That's why there was a lot of rumors that Breece Hall was going to end up in Kansas City. That didn't happen, but they definitely don't have the running game that they usually do. Kareem Hunt could do something here and there, but nothing you're really worried about.
Yeah. And then from your point of view on the Bills side of things, I know we lost 55 there. He's toward Achilles is terrible to see there, but just looking at that defense without him, we didn't have Mike in there for 6 games. Like, do you feel like maybe the defensive line, at least that the Kansas City game, has maybe stepped up a little bit?
They definitely stepped up that game. I want to see consistency, and I also want to see it away from Buffalo. People like to get all pumped up and get jacked up because the Mafia is right there. But what's going to happen when your guys are outside of Buffalo and you don't have all the fans right behind you?
Well, I would caution you on all the fans because the Mafia does travel for sure.
Yeah,
and they're about to head to Miami as well, and I know it's a huge travel destination there. But
well,
you had mentioned
that's not even a game you're even worried about. But
exactly, we'll certainly get into that. Last week you had mentioned you wanted to see a little bit more of the rookie Max Harrison. He had a pick, which is like basically like a kick.
First of all, that good for him getting a pick, and but he's nothing. That was not a great, nothing great. That was on the pressure again. That's because you guys got pressure on Mahomes and he threw it up. But good for him because he still made the play.
Yeah, but to that point though, there was that one play where he was step with step. You could tell the real speed that he had. I think he was with Brown there, or Worthy. I think he was step by step. So I felt like that really kind of showcased the possible cornerback that we'd be getting there.
Yeah, I mean that's what you wanted. He stayed with the speed guys. He was there, so that's definitely going to help. And you guys, it's definitely needed.
And then on the flip side of the ball, there, I know we had some Mafia mail come in about the offense and those type of things. They didn't take any shots downfield or anything like that. But how did you feel like kind of the offense did for the Bills especially coming off a 40 burger against Carolina.
You ran the ball, and you played it. And Kansas City has a good defense. You guys ran the ball, and you made people pay. You ran a balanced offense. Now, I am very surprised that you guys didn't make a trade deadline deal to get more receiving help. But hey, it's all good. You guys were riding high off the Kansas City win.
We'll get into that for sure here in a couple minutes. But also Chris Jones, were you surprised how the Bills really shut down Chris Jones?
If you put a focus on Chris Jones, I mean that's what's going to happen. And Bills' offensive line is good. Again, that was in Buffalo, but that's one thing with Kansas City. If Chris Jones gets stopped, if the other guys aren't stepping it up, then it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and then kind of put a bow on this and kind of talk about the trade deadline here. I think you had mentioned last week that if Kansas City lost this game, that was it. Are you still riding on that?
Kansas City's going to be fighting to make the playoffs after this game. The simple fact is Denver is in control of their division right now, and they're playing well. And you got to keep that going. So, and we'll see if Kansas City falls, because Bills can step it up like that. Other teams can do it as well.
Yeah. Well, it's a good game, a big game. Obviously, there's seeding there. The Bills obviously have a better record, so hopefully that doesn't come into play. They beat the two dogs that they needed to, if that was going to be a seeding issue, and that's Baltimore and Kansas City. They got it done. James Cook looked good. I feel like the Bills are just going to focus on that run game the rest of the year, make people stop.
As they should.
Yeah, absolutely. Make Josh Allen, and again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but make Josh Allen beat you. But certainly the Bills had a great game plan. Kincaid was outstanding. But let's get into this real quick before we go to the other sidelines. We do have a guest this week, a returning guest, Dave from the Dolphins, will be back on the other sideline. But let's talk about this trade deadline, Tim, because I know we talked really since week 2 maybe of the season. We've been talking about the Bills needing wide receivers, and then Ed Oliver goes out, and you had felt that the Bills should have switched that over to a trade against on the defensive line. So the Bills don't do anything here. Thoughts on that?
I think they left something on the table because other teams were making moves. For example, Indianapolis, they were going all in. Indianapolis sees, hey, they got a shot right now. They're going to go all in and make sure that's the case. Now, one of the big trade.
Let me. Do you think Indianapolis is better than Kansas City when it comes playoff? Like if Kansas City gets in, they got to play Indianapolis. Are you saying, oh, Indianapolis is going to win?
As on paper right now. Now, obviously, injuries can happen and all that stuff. Indianapolis is a better team than Kansas City right now. They're more balanced across the board.
Okay, go ahead.
That being said, is one of the big trade sellers was the Jets, which is obviously not going to trade with Buffalo. But you guys should have got somebody to replace Ed Oliver. You guys should have got, hey, go get another corner. Go get a wide receiver. You guys' window is only going to be open for so long. Why not go for it? Even if you gave up a first-round pick. If it's a first-round pick and guess what? You made the Super Bowl, it's pretty much a second-round pick. It's that late.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was kind of shocked they didn't do it, but now looking back at it, I mean, Kansas City Chiefs podcasters are talking about this. Why the Chiefs didn't trade for a running back when they they could have gotten Hall out of New York. And so it's not, and I know Mafia is freaking out about it, but it's just not the Bills. I mean, it's Kansas City as well. I mean, they need help in running back. The problem is that it is too rich. The wide receivers, there's rumors out of New Orleans that they wanted a first-round draft pick, and the Bills were in there trying to do it. It's just really, really rich. I am not mad that Bean didn't give up a first-round draft pick for a wide receiver.
Well, here's the two guys that they were talking about. The ones that did get traded. What I saw they gave up For example, Jacoby Myers from the Raiders. I think it was if I'm not mistaken, it was like a third and a fourth. You guys aren't willing to give up a third and a fourth to get a receiver to finally win the Super Bowl, or Shaheed from New Orleans,
Right.
which was about just about the same kind of package. You know, let's go all in. Let's put our chips in the middle. Let's win that first Buffalo Super Bowl. Let's go for it. And like, let's not worry necessarily about tomorrow. Let's worry about today.
Yeah, well, I understand that point, and Bean and McDermott have never been that way. They've been draft, develop, and re-sign. And if you go down the Bills roster, both sides of the ball, a lot of those players are exactly that. They're draft, re-sign. Christian Benford, top cornerback in the league. Taron Johnson, top nickelback in the league. Matt Milano, he's old and hurt, but same thing. Bernard, the offensive line, Brown and Dawkins. So that's not their MO. I mean,
well, especially
hold on. I don't think Myers makes the Bills that much better.
I think he gives you another receiver. Who actually
we don't need but that's what I'm saying. We don't need another wide receiver. You and I have been saying for weeks the Bills need a number one wide receiver. And I don't think Myers makes the number one wide receiver. Like, I think this is more of
let me ask you this.
Up.
Do you think Myers is better than Keon Coleman?
Huh?
Do you think Myers is better than Keon Coleman?
I think Gabe Davis right now is better than Keon Coleman. And I think that's why they didn't go out and do that. I think that Gabe Davis is trending up to a point where he's gonna play. And I think he slots in for Keon Coleman. Like, to me, the wide receiver position had to have been like back in 2020 when the Bills traded a first round draft pick to Stephon Diggs. Because Diggs to me is that person that is you got to account for on the field at that time. He's older now, right? But that's what I'm saying. And so I don't think Myers necessarily helps, because is he better than Palmer? I don't think so.
Oh, I think he absolutely is. But
yeah, but does he make? But that's what I'm saying. Are you going to give up a second or a third round draft pick for that?
I don't think you would. Well, you obviously don't have to give up a second, because they didn't give up a second when they traded him.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is I know we're talking about, hey, we want to win 2. How about win 1, and then we'll worry about 2.
No, I understand. I understand that, but I'm just coming from this. I'm coming from the point that the Bills, they just don't operate that way. I mean, they're just not gonna give up a whole lot of picks for 1 year. Like, it's just not gonna be that way. And certainly, I think if Bean had an opportunity to get someone that made sense, they would have done it. I just don't think the wide receivers that were out there
I'm not even talking about just wide receivers. I mean, obviously, we've been talking about defense. Sure up the defense.
Yeah. Defense is interesting to me because, and I know we got to get to Dave on the other sideline here, but it's interesting to me, the defense, because McDermott plays that multiple sub-in defense. It's defensive line, subs in, and those kind of things. And I'm just not sure, like, there's any. I mean, Quentin Jefferson's not going to come, right? I mean, they're not going to trade for him, the Jets. So,
Quentin Williams.
It makes me feel better that Kansas City didn't do anything, right? Because they need a need at running back as well. So, the same mindset, I feel like.
And Kansas City's has won Super Bowls and gotten away with the running backs that are literally in their backfield.
I get it.
But
I get it.
I would, going back, I listened to Jeremy White this morning. In the Buffalo Sports Talking. He was saying the same thing. He's like, why not go all in?
I agree.
Cool. But hey, you guys do what you guys got to do. Hopefully it works out.
I'm not saying not go all in. I'm just saying, like, who are you going to go all in? Like, Justin Jefferson would have been, yep, let's do this. Let's knock this out. But, like, let's give up, a first round draft pick. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, If it was a Stephon Diggs kind of move, I'm all in. But if it's like, if it's somebody that's going to be here for the next half of the season and doesn't necessarily make the offense that much better, that's tough for me to trade.
Like I said,
You know?
like you said, I'm not even saying just stuck on the wide receivers, but
Yeah.
as far as make a move, try to make your team better.
But as a fan, I mean, I was pissed off about it too, but as a fan, I mean, I drink the Kool-Aid or whatever you want to call it. I trust Bean, right? I trust that what he's doing and all that stuff, and that he's doing the right thing, and that's all we can do at this point. And you want a final take on the Jets here? Absolutely. We got. I know it's a Bills podcast, but before we get to Dave from the other sideline, Sauce Gardner, you want to talk about giving up Sauce Gardner? You want to talk about there's a team, Indianapolis, going all in on Sauce Gardner, giving up 2 first-round draft picks. What's their season going to look like after that? If they win the Super Bowl, it's great. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, what's that season going to look like?
This is the way you got to look at it. Okay, so 1 first-round pick. Would you want to give 1 first-round pick for Sauce Gardner, who's a top corner in the league? Now they did give up 2. Do I think that's a little bit of rich from what I've seen from Sauce this year? Yes.
You would have given up a first-round draft pick for a cornerback, someone who doesn't touch the ball. Someone who doesn't touch the ball.
Yes.
As often as a wide receiver.
A shutdown corner, you absolutely take first. First of all, he was a top 5 pick in his draft.
Yeah.
And he's already extended, so it's not like he's already paid. So it's already good to go. Now I can understand that. Was it a little bit of rich, but it's, hey, let's go all in. Because the way it is, if you are going to be all in and you're going to be at the top of the playoffs, even if you don't win the Super Bowl, your draft pick's is going to be late first round. That's pretty much a second round pick.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do. Now you can also feed your team through free agency when you don't have to pay some of the draft picks. But one of the things that Bills are doing was they're re-signing a lot of Buffalo people are re-signing a lot of people, and there's cap is eat up by not a bunch of huge contracts, but a bunch of medium contracts.
Yeah, that is right. Yep.
It's whatever way you want to run it, but let's see who it works out for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what's going to come to, because right now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think any team in the AFC wants to see Indianapolis in the playoffs, especially if they're going to be home.
I gotta disagree there. I think and we did get an email, so we're gonna get to this, but I want to disagree there. I think it's too early. I think people are knocking Kansas City out the door, and if Kansas City gets hot and gets in that playoff and they end up playing Indianapolis, I would not be shocked if Indianapolis loses that game, almost like Detroit did last year. So I like Indianapolis. Certainly last week, they had a tough go of it, kind of exposed them a bit. So we'll see going down the road what it is. It's going to be interesting for sure, and it's funny to see those graphics without Kansas City in there. But let's get to this email here. You ready, Tim?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, this one's from Ryan Jacobs. It's a long one, so I'll try to paraphrase. Hey, Tim, Ryan here, Buffalo. I've been listening all season. Enjoy your takes, even when it's not exactly Mafia friendly. I'm just curious how you're feeling after that win in Kansas City. For me, the game finally felt like the Bills we've been waiting for. Confident balance, locked in on both sides of the ball. Josh looked posed. Defense was disciplined. Whole team seemed to believe again. Now we've got Miami up next, and while they're a divisional rival, it's hard to see them matching our energy right now, especially without Tyreek. But I'd love to hear your neutral take. Was that Kansas City win a turning point for Buffalo, or are you still thinking they've got something to prove ahead in the stretch run? Appreciate what you bring to the show, Tim, even when the Mafia doesn't always agree with you. Ryan from Buffalo. So he just wants to know what's your read after last week, Tim? It
was a good win, because I'm gonna be, from what you guys have played this year, that was really your first, well, I would say your second big win. Baltimore was a good win, but it's hindsight being Baltimore's not good right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Kansas City, that was a big win because it's still Kansas City. And hey, if you could knock them out of the playoffs and not even let them in the playoffs, that's huge.
Even better. Even better.
Especially if that's your kryptonite.
That's right.
But it's going to help your confidence, 100%. And like I said, I like the way the defense played that game. I just want to see them do it next week as well, and the week after that. Granted, they're probably going to be able to easily do it against Miami because Miami sucks.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, that's another thing. But don't take anybody for granted because the fact is, all that confidence you just got with Kansas City, you lose to Miami, that's gone.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. And Ryan, appreciate you getting in. If you want to email Tim, you do it at billsmafiacto@gmail.com. And yeah, I kind of agree with Tim here on all these points. Super confidence builder, obviously at home, and really, and we talked about it earlier in the show, but really dominant the entire game, even though the score was a lot closer. We appreciate it, Ryan from Buffalo. And since Tim, you brought up the Dolphins, let's head into the other sideline with Dave.
All right, Mafia, it's time for the other sideline, where we bring in fans from the teams the Bills are facing this week. We get their perspective, their passion, and maybe even a little trash talk. So buckle up, because it's not just Bills Mafia in the house. It's game week, and the spotlight's on both sidelines. Let's go, Bills!
Welcome back to the other sideline, and we are back for another Bills Dolphins. And welcome back, Dave, season ticket holder of the Dolphins, flies down there from North Carolina. Dave, welcome back to the other sideline, my friend.
Owen, great to be here. Can't wait for this weekend. Just excited to see how much we actually lose by. It's just one of those things like, are we going to keep it a close loss, or are we going to just get trounced by 6 touchdowns? But yeah, good to be back and had a good time last time, and let's get into it.
Yeah. Hey, really appreciate it. And it is interesting, a different kind of different view of this Bills Dolphins game, considering what it was, in the beginning of the season. Got to start right off the bat there. You fire your GM. I think everyone wasn't surprised about that, but maybe the outside Dolphins fans were kind of surprised McDaniels didn't go with that out the door there. Yeah, any surprise from the Dolphins fans that didn't happen as well?
Yeah, I think everybody wanted a pound of flesh, and they wanted Greer and McDaniels gone. I get not getting rid of McDaniels because he's really tied to Tua and that $50 million a year guaranteed contract that they're dealing with right now. But somebody had to go. Unfortunately, it was Greer. I'm not in the Greer hate like a lot of people. Okay. I think you can really look at GMs and you can say, here's a great move, here's a bad move, right across the board, right? I think he did take a lot of risks on some injury-prone players that unfortunately didn't always pan out. But I think in the end, he wasn't as bad as he's getting credit for or not getting credit for, right? So, look, we had a few really good years with a team he put together. Now we haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. He's been with the organization for 26 years. And
he's been there that long. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he started under Parcells when Parcells was the general manager and was like a scout, and he worked his way up. Yeah, so he's been with the organization for 26 years. So, yeah, I'm not one of those fans that's super excited about starting over, but I think, we're kind of at that point where we talked about it last time. The Dolphins just seem to be regressing under Mike McDaniel. They don't seem to be getting better. He seems to continue to have these small little issues that just aren't getting better. And as much as I like him, it just feels like there is going to be a time to move on, and it'll likely be at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I just really, this Dolphins Bills rivalry, I focus on the Josh Allen era, that we're in right now. And the Dolphins, they look good. They had Tua, they got, Tyreek and all that. But like getting to the playoffs. I don't believe the cold weather shit that people talk about with the Dolphins. I mean, there's players on that team that played college in the cold weather, but
Yep.
I mean, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think is if you can think of anything, like what is the thing that's holding back the Dolphins from, getting to where they need to go, especially during those playoff runs last couple of years? Is it Tua? Is it McDaniels? Like what's kind of like been holding them back from doing what they have? Because their rosters with Waddle and Tyreek is just, really good.
Yeah, they've always had a on paper a really good roster, right? Especially the last 5 or 6 years. Really, since Flores, was the coach, they've had a really decent team on paper. And I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, some of it's just straight out bad luck. A few years ago, when they actually had a chance to make a run, we had no defensive line because everybody was injured. Tons of injuries. A lot of people would say strength and conditioning is an issue, right? But I mean, it feels a touch of bad luck, and it's the NFL, man. Like a couple bad plays here and there, and you're going to lose a game. And they had a chance to win the division a few years ago, lost
Yeah,
that game against Tennessee Titans in a pretty much easily win game for them, lost home field advantage. Now, when you're a speed team, that definitely hurts being on the road in the cold. There's no doubt
for sure.
about it. So, and they've always had, especially under Mike McDaniels, they've had a lot of pre-snap issues, especially on the road, right? So it's bad enough at home, but then get them on the road and they seem to have issues getting plays in. And so I just think it's a combination of a lot of things. And yeah, who the heck knows why? But the issue is they're just not winning playoff games, right? And it's just, so at some point somebody's going to have to pay for it, and it's going to start from the top, and that's the way it's got to work.
Yeah. So the Tua thing right now is interesting to me. Just from the standpoint of, from a Dolphins point of view, Dolphins fan point of view. Uh, and I don't want to jump ahead. There's still a lot of football left, but the reality of the situation is here. It's, I mean, it's going to be really difficult for you guys to get to, to the extra games, to the playoffs there. So, if it gets to a point, maybe even against Buffalo on Sunday or later on, a little bit later on down the road, is there any thinking? Are you on board of like, hey, let's shut Tua down and let's see what else we got here? Or is this something where you ride Tua out and then you talk about it in the offseason?
Yeah, I think it does get to a point. Let's just say we lose the next 3 or 4. You're completely out of playoff contention. Let's put Quinn Ewers in. Let's see what we got with him. I mean, he was a 6th round, 7th round pick.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I mean, I personally, I like Tua. I mean, coming into the season, it felt like if we have Tua in the lineup, we have a chance to win. But increasingly, what you're seeing is a guy that he's in his own head where he's just getting down fast because he doesn't want to get hurt, right? He doesn't want to let the team down by not being there. So you're seeing sliding really quick, getting rid of balls really fast. Like he's not playing with that mentality you need to, I'm going to go and get that 1 yard no matter what. You think of a Josh Allen, you think of Baker Mayfield, some of these new guys coming up where they're going to get that yard no matter what. And Tua is sliding 3 yards before it, so it just feels like if we get to that point where playoffs are out of touch, which is probably going to be after this week or after the Washington game, I assume before the bye we're going to be basically be eliminated after the Commanders game in Spain. I think you got to shut them down. I really do, and see what you got.
Yeah. McDaniels, like, if it really goes bad these last few weeks here, or last month and a half, you see McDaniels back, or what?
Not if it goes bad. As bad as I assume and most people assume it's going to go over the next 8 weeks or 9 weeks or so. I just don't see it. I think there's one thing Stephen Ross has always said, the owner of the Dolphins, is when the fans stop supporting or stop coming, that's when changes are going to need to be made. And I'm hearing a lot of season ticket holders. I'm talking people that have been season ticket holders for 20, 30 plus years are saying, call me back. I'll renew when McDaniels is gone,
Okay.
because they're
Yeah.
just at that point where, that's what it is. I've got a
Yeah.
bunch of season ticket holders around me, and it is just the bad vibe.
Yeah.
There's just that Ravens game was tough. I mean, it was just a lot of negativity just across the board, and it was a hard game to watch. It really
Yeah.
was. You didn't see any passion or pride out of the team, and that just flowed all the way up through the fans, and there was nothing to cheer about, and
Yeah.
it's like you at least want to see a team that puts it all out on the field and puts a good game tape out, and it's been few and far between for them.
Yeah, it has. It's been, it's certainly been tough, and obviously Bills Mafia knows that during our drought years. So it is a tough thing. Quarterback is I mean, I say this all the time. Like if you don't hit on a quarterback, it sets you back 5 years because
Yep.
you drafted in the first round. You don't hit on that quarterback, you're paying him for at least 4 years. Then you got to get another one, so it could be 10, 15 years. So
Yep.
I totally understand that. Want to flip just a little bit to the other side. Trade deadline has passed here. Guys gave up one of your best, if not the best, pass rusher you guys have on the Dolphins. And I know, we're still maybe not making it there, but interesting. Was that more of just kind of like, hey, we need some assets here, some draft picks, or what's your
It
feeling about that?
Yeah, I think there was injury factor,
Right.
missing the last 2 seasons. I will say he was a fan favorite. I mean, everybody
Yeah.
loved Jalen Phillips, and don't forget he was a Hurricane too, so he's been in Miami for a
Miami, yeah.
long. And so talk about fan favorite. I think everyone expected Chubb to go before Phillips, a little bit older, maybe not as much draft capital, but you get a third back for Phillips. I mean, I get it. He's coming up on a contract year, and again, with Tua's big contract, you're hoping you can get somebody in there to fill the gaps. And you just drafted Chop Robinson to come in behind him, but I was expecting more moves, honestly, especially with the new GM coming in. But
Yeah.
it just didn't. The cards didn't fall that way. So we got rid of a fan favorite on top of having a crappy season, so not the best not the best move, but he's one of those guys that the Dolphins will root for years to come, just how much he did for the community and how much the fans like him.
Yeah, I think we were both in the same boat, about trades. I mean, certainly, the Jets went all out and the Patriots, Dolphins, and the Bills kind of stayed home there.
Yeah.
But, you got to trust the guys. I mean, we're fans. I'm doing a podcast. So, I mean, I know a lot about the Bills, but, obviously I'm not
Yeah,
the ones that signing those checks. So, I
that's
just,
it.
and Tim and I just talked about it earlier. Like, you just got to trust that, they're doing what they do, and that's what they're paid to do. So, uh, but with that being said, there, James Cook is cooking. There's no question about that. The run game has found the Bills. It's really helped out. So, losing Phillips, I mean, stopping the run's probably going to be the thing that the Dolphins are going to have to do there. Do you feel without Phillips there, that could be a challenge for them?
Yeah, I mean, of course, he's one of the better pass rushing slash just run stoppers that we have. He's an athletic freak. Now, is Cook definitely playing? I heard today he was
Yeah.
doubtful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Tim and I were just talking about it. So yeah, he did get hurt against Kansas City. He had a high ankle, I think, and he hasn't practiced. So it's undetermined right now anyway, maybe more of a game time decision. But all indications was when he got hurt, he came back out. So this might just be simply just kind of quote unquote veteran rest day, but that's going to be a
Got
huge, huge thing for the Bills. I think from our standpoint, going into Miami without Phillips there being the best pass rusher, if Cook doesn't get to go, I think not having Phillips there is a little bit of I don't want to say easier, but certainly somebody you don't got to account for on that side of the ball. But Cook may not
Yeah,
play.
and I'll say Josh Allen is going to have an easier time too because Phillips,
Exactly. Yeah.
again, as athletic as he is, containing the edge where Allen's going to have a lot more flexibility to move around, and he's all. I mean, like most teams, he's a Dolphins killer, right? So it
Yeah.
seems every time he needs a key third down or fourth down, he's doing it with his legs. And with Phillips not being there, it's just going to be that much easier. And you got Chop Robinson that's questionable right now. Zach Zeeler, questionable. So our defensive line is potentially going to be quite an issue this week, containing that, whether it's Cook or what do you got, Ray Davis or Josh Allen
Yeah.
running the ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd probably be Cook, or if Cook can't go, it's probably Ray Davis, Ty Johnson there. But
Yeah.
you know, and the Bills are doing a lot of double tight ends. You know that set
Yep.
and Reggie Gilliman there. So yeah, I mean the Bills have definitely got a good identity, and I agree with you. Without Phillips there, that does expose Josh to be able to really maybe control things more than he did last game, for sure. But
Yep.
you know, again, it's a divisional game. Even with Miami the way they are, it's going to be a tough road. I know, you know, certainly, and this is the first time we're talking about it, but that roughing the kicker penalty there by Miami really kind of cost the game there. There's been a few of those throughout the
Yeah.
season for Miami, but you know, without that game's a lot closer. And you know, you may even had that upset.
Yeah, I still think, again, divisional game coming off that big win against the Chiefs. I don't expect Bills to have a letdown, but I could see them starting slow and the Dolphins potentially getting up early. And if they can control the ground, which is always a potential with Devon Chain, and I don't know if Ali Gordon is going to play this week. He's also questionable, but we've also been throwing in a lineman and going into like a six lineman set and trying to control the ground a little bit more. We just got so far behind against the Ravens, it wasn't going to work. So if the Bills come in a little bit slow again off of that and Miami gets up, I think that's the only chance to keep the game close as far as that goes. But yeah, I just think like I said, I don't expect the Bills to come in and flop at all. Like they're too disciplined of a team to come in, and they know what's at stake here, keeping up with the Colts and the Chiefs and the Patriots, right? How good they're doing. I mean, nobody saw that when we talked last time. I mean,
No,
geez.
nobody saw that one. Yeah, I agree with you. The Bills are not a team that's gonna, you know, they're not gonna get beat. Like they're not gonna go into any game and get beaten by the other team. Like they're gonna lose that game. Like Josh is gonna throw some picks, or there's gonna be some fumbles, stupid penalties, that kind of thing. Yeah, I agree with that. And you know, the one thing with the Dolphins is the run game. It's still there. So, you know, the Bills are light on that. That's kind of been our MO. It really hasn't been exposed a lot like the New England and the Falcons game because they got up big on Carolina, and then Kansas City doesn't really have a run game. So we really haven't seen any of the changes of the Bills defense after the bye to kind of stop the bleeding of the run. So do you expect the Dolphins, because now after the bye we're playing a team that will run. Do you expect the Dolphins to really try to focus on that often and early?
Yeah, you saw it with the Atlanta game that they actually beat Atlanta by coming in and doing that. They tried to get it going against the Ravens, but again, the defense just got down too quick, too early. We had a couple fumbles that we were down in the red zone, you know, in that game as well. So it could have played out completely differently, and that Ravens game could have looked different. But when we have a good run game, especially with that six lineman in there, so I know that's got to be the game plan. I mean, you don't have Tyreek. You've got Waddle that's doing great through the middle. Once that run game is open up, right? And then you got a bunch of screens to a chain, which is just another run game, just a pitch and catch type thing. So that's got to be the game plan. Keep Josh Allen off of the field, keep Miami's offense on there. It's going to be a warm day. I think it's supposed to be like mid 80s. So again, as much as you can keep them in the sun, and it's supposed to be a sunny day too. So it's going to be hot. So
yeah, well, that's good. Well, hey man, before we let you go here, a couple things I want to get. So give me your X factor. What is the Dolphins? I know we talked a lot about it, but what do the Dolphins got to do to pull this upset?
they got to get rid of the stupid mistakes, right? So those those small things like the roughing the punter on a key down, the
Yeah.
fumbling inside the red zone. Don't turn the ball over. But number one, if they can establish that run game and keep the game close, not get it too far out where they got to rely on to throw the ball, where then the Bills can just key up and rush every play, because our offensive line it's not great. Like you start watching all 22 and Tua's running for his life pretty much every play,
Yeah.
so he doesn't have a lot of time to look for a third or fourth read. But it's got to be just control the ball and keep the Bills off the field and just stop the stupid mistakes, because they invent new ways to lose games.
Yeah.
It feels like,
Yeah. If the Dolphins were to pull up the upset, what do you got for a score?
Man, it's going to be a close one if they win. I would say if they do win this game, I'm going to go 24-19 Dolphins.
All right. There you go. Josh Allen gets James Cook doesn't play, or James Cook gets shut down and Josh has a terrible day. That's how I see the Bills putting up 19, because they lead the league with scoring. So that would be a hell of a defensive performance.
I'm telling you, it's going to be like one of those where what team is playing right now, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
Exactly. That's going to be an interesting podcast next week if the Bills are only scoring 19 points.
Yes, sir.
Against any team. Well, awesome, man. Well, before you go, as you know, this is the last, and I asked you around week 3, I think is when we played. This is the last year at Highmark Stadium, Rich Stadium. I call it the Ralph, the Cap, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So as you know, I'm asking kind of our guests, like, what's the memory? So I'm going to ask you again. Give you a couple weeks, think about it. Do you have another memory you want to share with BillsMafia about?
So even though I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm from Buffalo, I'm a diehard Sabres fan.
Okay.
So 2008 first Winter Classic at Rich Stadium was one of the greatest days of my life, because one, you've got the tailgating like a football game, but the atmosphere of the hockey, right? And it's, Pittsburgh, they played the Penguins that day. It's the first Winter Classic, so the first time it's outdoors, and it's like a postcard the entire game, because it's cold, but it's like a light snow coming down on the ice, and man, it was unbelievable. And it went to a shootout, so
Ryan Miller, right? That was Ryan Miller in that.
Yeah, Ryan Miller, Sidney Crosby won the game-winning goal.
And Ryan had his beanie on, I think, right?
Yeah. And it was just like the atmosphere there and the experience, the entire game, just so cold, but so worth it. And again, it was just like, that was one of the greatest days. And the Sabres were still good back then. So, it was just like one of those where everybody was into the Sabres, and the Bills weren't so good back then, 2008, 2009. So it was like everybody was behind the Sabres. It was just a magical day. And it was, so much fun.
Man, that's a cool memory. I appreciate you bringing that memory up. I have not thought about that memory, but that kind of started, for all you young BillsMafia bucks out there, that kind of started it started the outdoor stadium series. And like you said, Dave, the Sabres were hot, so it was a good team there. So yeah, appreciate that. Great memory. Wasn't sure where you're gonna go with that. So because there was definitely some Brian Cox memories in that stadium that we talked about with the 2 middle fingers and all that. But great memory. I appreciate you bringing that up. And so for the viewers that didn't catch you earlier this year, tell us a little bit about kind of your fostership and what you're doing with dogs and those fosters.
Yeah. So my fiance and I, we foster dogs through Freedom Ride Rescue, based out here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Really great organization. We've been with them, helping them out for 5 years now. And they just give you all the support you need and really help you home dogs, and find the right family. And in the end, you get to make the final decision. So you're with the dog for, let's say a few weeks or a few months. You get to decide where this dog goes to, and it's a big responsibility. And they give you autonomy over that, but also a lot of help during the whole thing. So shout out to Freedom Ride Rescue, really great organization out here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, and you can check them out on our social media pages. We'll link it there. Also put a hashtag there. You can check them out. And do they have a YouTube channel?
I believe so. Yeah,
Okay.
they should.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll make
Definitely
sure
Facebook. Do a lot
yeah.
through Facebook. So
Yeah. So we'll definitely hook it up there. Well, Dave, I appreciate you coming on and joining us again in the Mafia, the other sideline. I would say that we'll probably do this again, but tides have really got to change down there in South Florida to be able to
yeah,
hop back in here. But certainly I appreciate it. And yeah, good luck on Sunday. And yeah, hopefully you guys get this thing turned around. So it'd be really cool to have really the Pats, the Dolphins, the Jets to be a competitive division.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, Owen, and
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be texting throughout the game on Sunday. I'll send you
Yes,
some
sir.
pictures from the game.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Later, man. Good luck.
All right, take care.
Thanks, man. Bye.
All right, I want to thank Dave for coming back on to the other sideline. Appreciate him on his insight of the Dolphins. Obviously, with the Dolphins, it's going to be a close game no matter what. They're reeling there. They lost Phillips, as we talked about. So it's going to be an interesting game. Hopefully, from the Bills Mafia side of things, we can just get down there, get business done, stay healthy, and move up. So we got a big test against Tampa the next week there. So, but now it's time to get into Tim's favorite section, Mafia Mail.
Bills Mafia, make some noise. It's time for Mafia Mail.
This one comes from Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, our first.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, first Raleigh, North Carolina. This is Emily Carter from Raleigh, and she says, "Hey Mafia, Emily here from Raleigh. I just want to say the win over Kansas City felt different. The energy, the discipline, the way everyone played, it looked like a team. Josh didn't have to do everything himself. The defense made big stops. The run game showed up. You could feel the belief again. It reminded me of the Bills that played confidence. Now with Miami coming up, I know it's easy to overlook them, especially with how banged up they are. But I hope the guys kept the same edge and focus. We've seen what this team can do when they stay balanced and don't try to force it. So my question is, do you think the Kansas City game was the moment the team finally figured it out? Or do they still have something to prove? And before we started the playoffs, we talked a little bit about this from Tim's, from Ryan there that on that sending Tim the outsider. So again, Tim, obviously trap game is what's been kind of thrown around here. Miami is reeling. We talked to Dave just a few minutes ago. So your thoughts going into the Miami game here and after a big win against Kansas City?
Here, as far as where do I want to go with this? It's bring me back with a question again. I'm losing my train of thought.
Yeah, so basically, Emily from Raleigh is just indicating that she brings up a good point. We talked about it. The KC game felt different, but it was the moment this team truly.
Well, okay,
found its
yeah, that's where I
identity.
was going to go with that. I apologize.
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
so here it is with this. Is it a great game? Yeah, those are going to happen, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is literally the halfway point of the season. You guys need to keep it going because honestly, well, first of all, you're not even worried about Kansas City right now. Let's worry about the Patriots. Let's catch the Patriots because that needs to happen. You guys need to win. Let's win the division before we worry about the Super Bowl. Worry about the playoffs.
Yeah.
You guys need to keep winning because New England keeps winning. So just keep rolling in, and you better not take anybody lately because you need every win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the Bills and McDermott and that organization, Bills organization, they take anybody lightly. It's a divisional game. We talked about it with Dave a few weeks ago when we played them the first time. It came down to basically roughing the kicker, roughing the punter, basically, or to kind of seal that game for us. So Miami's always been tough, and we talked about it with Dave. They are missing their pass rusher who moved on, I think, to Philly, got traded to Philly. So, that may help there by the Bills. The Bills are, the offense looks good, especially after the bye against Carolina. They just need to continue to move it. And to your point, Tim, it's one game at a time, not worry about the playoffs. And, New England is up there, and we got to catch them and hopefully be in a position when we play them again to either be ahead of them enough or fight for that division. So we appreciate that question, Emily, from Raleigh, North Carolina, and that
you guys also want to fight for home field. Well, you guys,
home field
obviously that's a huge advantage for you guys, and let's try to keep it as much as we can. Because right now the road's going through Indianapolis.
Right, that's what I was going to say. We got to keep winning, and Indy got a loss, and then kind of hopefully get there. So stacking wins, that's going to be the majority of the rest of the season. Great point. All right, Emily, thank you so much. And that was our Mafia Mail.
And that closes out this week's Mafia Mail. Always love hearing from the family. Now, back to the action.
All right, now it's time for the X Factor. Bills, Dolphins, down in Miami, 1 o'clock, 84 degrees, a November day, so it's not going to be brutal hot. I mean, divisional game, Tim. What's your X Factor here? Dolphins are reeling. What do you got?
The X factor is if the plane is working, because obviously all you guys got to do is show up. Miami's already gave up. They already gave up their top pass rusher. Tua, they don't even know if he's going to start. They've already fired the GM. Mike McDaniels is fighting for his job. Now the problem with Miami right now is they got nothing to lose. So mind your P's and Q's. But you guys should roll, period. As far as a factor, I would say the biggest X factor, I would say keep James Cook cooking and keep the run game going. That's what's been the difference in the past 2 games is you guys have stuck with Cook running the ball instead of doing the running back by committee and you know what happens when you run the ball? The defense doesn't get tired out on the other side of the field, and they're off the field a lot more. So if there's less possessions, guess what? They don't have to stop as many people.
That's right. Yeah, it's good. Certainly for me, the X factor is Cook. He is on the injury report with an ankle. He did not practice, so there is a bit of concern there. It's we still got a few more days to go here. He did get hurt in the Kansas City game. But I don't think it stopped him. I think he came back up. So hopefully it's just a rest thing. If he can't go, that could be a huge factor for the Dolphins on the X factor. But again, for me, James Cook is the X factor. But I want to see the defense, Bosa, the defensive line, continue the process of bringing it. They did it against Carolina. They brought the heat in Kansas City. So that is my X factor on the defensive side of the ball. I want to see that continue. Don't slow that down. I want that pace to go because, you get Tua off his spot. This game could get ugly and ugly fast. And, it would be great to rest players too going into that Tampa game.
Absolutely.
All right, Tim, go ahead with your prediction. What do you got for a score for this one?
32-10 Buffalo.
32-10. All right. So I'm going to go. I like that score actually, 32. I'll go. I think the Bills get it done. They put a 40 on Miami. I'm gonna go 40-17. Bills over the Dolphins, and and then we get ready for a big matchup against the Bucks, and so it should be an interesting game. A lot of Mafia will be down in South Beach. So here we go, Tim. So a recap from last week, Tim. You are now 14-12. You called it earlier in this year that you were not concerned about your losses, that you would ultimately get the wins and take it over, and you have. I am 11-13. So I am reeling here. So here we go. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. As everybody knows, I have got a few games for Tim's to pick off the top of his dome. He does not know who I am doing and who I'm selecting. So here we go.
I bet you the AFC East teams.
Well, that is correct. And I wanted to put this in here because they trade away everybody. Jets, Browns.
Browns are going to stomp them. It's not even going to be. Browns defense is great, and Justin Fields. They don't even want to announce him as the starter right now. And you just gave up 2 of your top defenders from the Jets. Guess what? Cleveland's going to take advantage of that.
I got the Jets here. I think with the trading and all of that, it's sending a message. They're going to be fired up, probably having some Doobie energy drinks, which you can get 10% off using our code BillsMafia CTO. So I think the Jets get it done here. I really do. I think they get it done. They get it done. And it's going to be upset city. Giants, Bears.
I'm going back and forth on this one because I really don't trust the Bears, but Bears have been playing tough, and honestly, the Giants' defense has been horrible. But I'm going to go Giants with a last field goal victory.
Okay. Yeah, I feel you. I think the Giants. I really do think the Giants are good. That's another team that didn't really trade for anybody, I don't think. But I really think Dart is the guy. I know you lost your running back there, which is probably not good for Dart because now teams can focus on just stopping him. But I do like the Giants and what I've seen, so I do think they get it done against the Bears. Pucks. How about Bucks, Pats?
What I've seen, I'm going to say the Pats. Bucks are injured. They got a lot of injuries across the board. And Pat's just been playing tough, and Drake May's playing like an MVP candidate. So, yeah, I know the Buffalo. You're going to be rooting hard for the Bucks, but I really do think the Pats are going to win this game.
Yeah, I got the Bucks here. Not because they're playing New England per se, but I do think Baker Mayfield's. I do like Baker. I think he gets it done here. So I'm gonna go Bucks. The Pats almost lost last week. So it's been a couple games where they had that, even against the Bills. So how much luck do the Pats have? I'm not sure, but I think the Bucks get it done here. And then the last one, Steelers, Chargers.
What was that?
Steelers, Chargers.
Steelers, Chargers. Okay. The way they've been playing, I should say the Steelers, but I have a feeling Chargers going to pull this off.
Okay.
I think Justin Herbert has a big game.
All right. This is an interesting matchup for me as well. The Steelers have been playing really good. Aaron's played well. I don't watch a lot of Chargers games, but obviously with Herbert there, he can, he can do what he needs to do to get things done. I think the Steelers do get this one. I just think they've been playing better now, and Mike Tomlin's defense could be a problem for Herbert going into this one. So I'm gonna go Steelers there on that one. So there we go. You've got Tim's got the Browns, the Giants, the Pats, and the Chargers. And that was our weekly picks. Guys, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Thank you, Tim, once again for coming in there and resetting Bills Mafia. Thank you for Ryan and Emily for your emails. And if you want to email Tim or for our Mafia mail second, you can do that at BillsMafia.CTO@gmail.com. And as always, be good, do good, God bless, go Bills.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Thanks for tuning in and repping the Mafia with us. Don't forget to subscribe, drop your Mafia mail, and join us next time as we bring the passion, the pride, and the power of the Buffalo Bills straight from the Carolinas. Let's go Buffalo.